Hello everyone, Anthony is here, and today I want to show how I created a product design in 3D code, which I later put in Blender. This is a step-by-step tutorial, so no time-lapse. I will do everything as we go. Here we are at the starting screen, so I will go pick voxel sculpting, and I'll just pick this sphere, a big sphere, so it has a bit more density. And now I want to activate Symmetry. I'll Shift S on my hotkey. And let's pick the X axis, and I'll press 5 on numpad to go into orthographic mode. I want to cut out this perfume bottle, so I'll go into the voxel hide, and I can do, as I press shift, I will do a cutout like that. However, what I want to do, first of all, I'll duplicate this layer so I have my backup sphere, and I want to resample everything. Control D my hotkey. I'll go to like 3 million triangles. I want to have fairly clean edges, and I tend to duplicate a lot of stuff all the time. Then back to voxel height, and I want to introduce an edge radius, maybe 11. So that will allow us to do a rounded cut. So I'm pressing shift when I'm dragging this all out. So we have a slightly rounded cut, but it looks like our cut is off the center. So I actually need to introduce another symmetry plane to fix this issue. So Shift S, and I'll go with Z axis. So now if I run, actually I'll press escape to exit the selection mode. I'll go to 22 points. I want to have a slightly more rounded bottle. So this is supposed to be a perfume bottle, and it takes a few seconds for this to run. And you can see here, this kind of gets tricky when I have multiple symmetry planes. It starts to overlap on each other, and it starts to cut each other in corners. So I can try to run this hide again and pick it from that a bit further away apart. Let's see. And actually it kind of hid even more. So to fix that, I'll just press Control and unhide what we've been hiding. And however, we do get these little artifacts which I want them to fix with just slight trimming on the edges. Let me go trim this also slightly. All right, and that one we can trim a little bit more. So now I want to duplicate this one, and when I duplicate it, the new copy doesn't have any of that information from the sphere saved. So now if I go and try to unhide anything, I cannot do it, which is not a big issue. So I think I will have just a squarish cut like that. I'll duplicate that. I can always go back to this kind of spherical shape. I do like that arch. It looks pretty interesting. And I will go and smooth all. I want to give a bit of a smoothing here, and maybe try a few of these materials to see which one is better. I'll go with this one. I do want to introduce a cap on top, so I will duplicate this layer, and I'll press Ctrl Delete or this empty layer. So I cleared current layer, but our density stays, so we have a pretty dense layer. So if I introduce any new shapes, they will be nice and sharp. I'll go with the blob tool and drag out a circle, and let's see what we get. It's kind of super small, so I needed to increase my brush size. So if I make it bigger and drag it right from the middle, you're getting a bigger cap. And let me just duplicate this guy as well. and I lost my pivot point. So here I'll just go and say to center mouse, push it up, then press R to create this cap, and I will use a shift pose tool. It's a shift W on my hotkey to push this up to rescale this cap. I want to first of all reset axis because it's usually slightly off and it will not go up directly. So now we have our cap. Maybe it's a little bit too big. I do feel like I need more resolution, so I'll use my hotkey Control D to resample it and increase resolution, and also smooth this during the like changing the resolution. It starts to smooth the cap. It is a little bit too big, so cut it. I'll cut the bottom, and then I'll run the smooth all operation, which is F12 for my hotkey, and I want just to have a slightly, rounder top. I can even make the bottom sharper, but keep the top fairly round. And that's basically it for our preparation. Now the fun part begins. I will duplicate this layer, our body layer, and I'll double click and rename it. I'll call it body, or we can call it a bottle, but and then we have our cap, and I guess we can call this a neck. So my product design will be mostly done using the voxel height features. So I want to run few cuts. Say I will press 3 to have few array cuts, and actually it's too much. So I actually want to go from a side and start to unhide stuff like this, and that allows us to create some very modern design in seconds. That's, to be honest, that's already not a bad variant. Say to send to a client. So it's a bit tricky to fill up that inside portion. I have to create another volume to combine over there, but yeah, I would keep it like as one of the variants. Let me duplicate this guy, and I will go to, and I will call this bottle A. And I will go and unhide everything here. So I'll turn off the symmetry. I want to go with a bit more freedom, and I will hide here everything again. And you can see here, I'm doing the unhide from that surface. Immediately, again, we are getting interesting shapes, a bit more crystal type shape. Pressing Alt to rotate this guy. I can definitely spend a lot of time playing like that. Another thing I can do, again, I will hide everything, and then I will unhide, for example, 15 cuts. So press Control to unhide. So we get that, and then I will do unhide from the top. Actually, for that unhide, I want to activate the symmetry. Enable the symmetry, and pressing Control click and releasing that, and I'm getting. I do get this overlap, which is quite annoying. To avoid that overlap, I have to be very precise about my positioning of this card, but I think I will get it anyway. So I can try to make the overlap bigger. I will try to make this overlap across all the planes, and I think that actually helped out. So a bit of a, I would say, you can even call it a pro technique. And I can do this overlap from here And I didn't finish in the middle, so we have a little artifact there. But again, if we're doing this quick prototyping, those little artifacts, it really don't matter much. So for example, I will duplicate this guy and press F12 for smoothing, and I'll press F5 to cast shadows, so we have some type of real-time lighting visible. And I have now two designs. This one is a little bit more boring, a bit more, I guess, classic, while the A variant is a bit more modern. And we can combine them, you see. If I just go shift drag on top, I will combine these two designs, which is not a bad idea. So I can go to my original volume, which I'll just unhide everything and duplicate it. I keep duplicating even if I've duplicated before. And the reason I want to reuse it, we can reuse it in a way that I'm going to unhide certain bits, and they will add to the design that I've created before. For example, if we were going to put a label here, this is now we have space for the label. Trying to see if these proportions are interesting enough. Maybe I want to make, I'll fill it up a little bit more. And shift drag down. And we got our combination, our boolean. Again, not perfect. I can make it more perfect if I spend a little bit more time to aiming that particular rectangular. But I run F12, and we got a bottle with the option to add a label on it. And if some of these kind of little artifacts, little rips, I don't like them, I can just go from the side and cut them all out. So that's bottle B. Let's try another bottle. So I'm unhiding, I'll hide 4 times. I'm not sure where we are right now, actually. Where is our length of the bottle? I have to try a few ideas. Okay, something interesting. I want to get slightly different angle. So, alright, so this is not bad. I will clean this all up. Press 3, cut this stuff out a little bit. So we have this a bit of like a grenade look. Actually, the top, I don't like the top, right? So it's the top will probably go away later. I can kind of go, maybe even cut it out now. And if I go and unhide this block, we get in this design. I don't like it that much. I do like this design. I like that it has a bit of this kind of brutal look, so it could be like a male perfume. And say I'll duplicate this and duplicate again, move it up, so we have 4 sections. So the bottom, I'll keep it with 3. I have our original mesh over there. I can go and scale it and check the proportions. I don't like the proportions. Okay, I'll keep this as it is. I can just scale down the cap, in fact, to make it smaller. And then I will work with this block of the original body. I'll duplicate it and start to hide certain bits and see how it affects the design underneath. So we need to have a bit of like a volume for the perfume, though I would say modern perfume bottles, they usually more about design. They're not really about the volume of liquid. They will be like, I don't know, 30 milliliters maximum. A bit of a scam, if you ask me. 30 milliliters for $200. I'm starting to like this shape. I want a little bit more of a cleanup, so I will press alt click on the layer and alt click again, so we hide and hide. And you know what, I don't want to unhide anymore because it can unhide stuff I don't want to unhide. I will just use the pose tool, reset the axis, and I'll just push it outwards and see how it affects the design. Press enter to leave it, and I'll duplicate this, hide the previous piece, and do a cut. Didn't do a good cut. Undo. I will use the rectangular, shift, cut, and hiding from the top. Alright. Tempted to hide even more, because we have this rhythm going on the front, but rhythm on the left is different. It's more like a block against this angular shape poking out, but this rhythm in front has more detail. I'm tempted actually to lose that detail, and I will go cut it from here. And I'm pressing shift to get straight shapes when I do a rectangular cut, and do a little bit more. Unhide. Okay, I'll do unhide. And you know what? I might introduce a cut here, so I will do 2 iterations. Eyeball it, do a cut, and then we have our rhythm repeating across. We have some really brutal male perfume design box. I'll push it down a little bit. Use voxel hide to hide. So we have a little stand. I could play a lot longer with this, but I will just go and merge it all together. Duplicate and run a smoothing. All smooth. Because smoothing is melting the shapes together, so we have better bevels. And if I need to bring in the sharpness back, what I'll do, first of all, I will go Ctrl D, my resampling hotkey. I will go to like 3 or even 4 million triangles for the whole shape, and then I will do few hide cuts to introduce the sharpness back. And now we have sharper shapes over there. I see, do I need these cuts here? Not, maybe it's too much. It's too much. Yeah, I'm not too happy about the bottom. I'll just use this fill tool to fill it up a little bit. However, we can fix it. We can fix it by using. So if I just hide this guy, and duplicate the top, again, I can fix it. I can make it even longer just by duplicating these parts together and checking this out. Is it good or not good? 3 seems to be 3 parts seem to me to do a better visual job than 4, and I can see there's a little ledge right there, so I can try to go and start to unhide bit by bit and see where it starts to fuse together around there. So kinda. Alright, so now here we want to save here. I'll make duplicate layers, make backup layers, and then we will go and combine this all together. You also want to save because it can crash on these merge operations. It's 3D code, it's pretty buggy. And I'm using the fill tool right now to fill up that little ledge. And now I have a really nice stand at the bottom, clean shapes overall, and my cap. So this is a much more complicated design than it was doing before, combining a few things together. And let me also combine this guy with the bottle. So like this should go a bit up. You can introduce a little ledge here using the pose tool and scaling this out. So now we have more organic, more a tighter feel, more like a real world material. This cap will be plastic, very thin lid. And then I go and shift combine it with the top. However, I do want to duplicate this at first because I didn't combine this neck with other designs. I need to keep it separated, and ideally I need to start creating folders for this stuff to look a bit less messy. And I can use fill to create a transition. I can also use the smooth all, but it will smooth everything too much. I'll just use fill to create transition. It's doing the job. And now cap. And I want the cap to actually have a real thickness to it. What I'll do for that, I'll duplicate it again. I'm always paranoid about losing my voxel layers and increase the density to actually 1,000,000. Because I'm doing this tiny prop, it's pretty easy to go overboard. It's very heavy density. And I will just go voxel hide this thin, cut it out, and then unhide at the top. And now we have a lid with actual thickness, and I can press F12 to smooth it a little bit. And we have nice bottle. I've decided to add a little pattern just to add a bit more complexity, to show that in 3D code we can do stuff that's not really possible in any other 3D modeling application, really. This speed we're talking about. So I want to get a diagonal pattern, which I'm just projecting from a side, and we get this ripped surface. Again, maybe adding a bit more brutality to the perfume. I could try, for example, to repeat this at the cap. I will do a pose selection. I'll go, say, 6, and I can try to push it inwards and get this. I don't really like that it's going horizontally while our other cuts are diagonal, so I will just clear the selection for now and keep it simple. With full emphasis on the pattern and the overall shape. of our product. And this is the render from Blender. If you want, you can download the file from my Gumroad. The link is in the description. If you want to learn more about the workflow in 3D code from start to finish using this and many other tools where I explain everything in much more detail, I have the intro to 3D code from noob to cook. So check it out on my Gumroad. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and see you in the next video.